I was working in Lower Manhattan at the time, and I remember coming out of the subway, and when I was in the subway, actually right by the World Trade Center, it came to a stop. I'll never forget, I got out of the subway station and I just saw people standing in the street looking upwards, and so I got in the street and looked up, and I saw the one tower. I could only see the one with a hole and the flames coming out of it, and I walked a bit north and I heard people obviously panicked, and I thought, well, this is bad. You got a fire in the tower. But why are people panicking? I started walking north because there was more of a commotion there. And as I walked north, the second tower came into view, and it was on fire. And just my heart went cold. You knew this was not an accident. This was something very different that we'd never seen before. I felt like I had just been frozen in that moment. And I walked down to the office. I was probably 4 blocks away, and I'll never forget that time. A bunch of us were standing in a conference room watching CNN and looking out the window over our shoulders at exactly what was on CNN. We were worried about another attack, 2 buildings hit, what's next? How are we going to get out of there? And there was some period of time there where it was just anxiety and fear. And then, of course, the towers crumbled, and I remember them falling in pretty quick succession, and that was a whole other level of fear and terror. You just never imagined that that could happen. In the meantime, the cloud of dust just shut down the light down there. Things went dark. They shut off the ventilation in our building, and I just, you thought you were in hell, and then that happened, and it was too much to process at the time. After a while, they encouraged us to evacuate the building. There wasn't public transportation running or anything, so people walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. They walked north to Grand Central, elsewhere. I had been an emergency medical technician in decades before, and so I figured there's got to be wounded people all over Lower Manhattan, and I wandered up towards the site, and it was interesting. There was debris everywhere, and there were abandoned ambulances and fire equipment everywhere as well. I joined a couple of crews whose ambulance had been destroyed, and gathering some of that abandoned equipment and consolidating it at the Staten Island Ferry Terminal, where doctors and nurses had come over from Staten Island and elsewhere. EMTs were gathering, and we were expecting lots of casualties. Of course, in the end, there weren't that many. There were people in the tower who did not survive, and not all that many people had ultimately been wounded. Late that night, I just increasing feeling of disbelief, walked north to Grand Central Terminal and got on a train. Looking back on it, I remember a couple of things. It really took me a long time, a couple of weeks, before I felt in any way normal. It was just an event that was literally incomprehensible, meaning your brain couldn't handle it. I had to watch it over and over again on the news clips just to believe that it had happened. And then if you live in Connecticut like I do, you now know of families that lost people who didn't come home, and now they're cars at the train station. And what are you going to do? It was a long time before I really felt normal again. And but I also remember something else, which was, and it happened probably hours after the event. Blocks away, people lining up, looking to give blood, and people going the other way, and descending on Lower Manhattan, wanting to help. Firefighters from all over the area going to Manhattan. Volunteers with no particular skills, just saying, how can I help? And I remember walking home and seeing long lines of people looking to give blood in local hospitals. And this is New York City, right? We don't talk to each other in New York City. And it just brought something out in us. And for days afterwards, people going up to each other and checking each other out and saying, how you doing? Everything okay? A real feeling that, we had, as a people, been attacked for the things that we value as a people, freedom and liberty and an open society. And I think we felt like a family that day. And, I just perversely, as you can tell, it was a pretty dramatic experience for me, but perversely, not that long after the event, I thought, wow, we've come together. We really feel a sense of family, and that we've got an obligation to each other to help each other out. And that lasted a while. It really did. I remember weirdly feeling good a week later, because here we were coming together, behind each other, behind our president, behind our government, just coming together. And I thought, this is us at our best. It unfortunately takes something big like that to force that, and we're in a different world right now. But it's not all difficult memories. It's obviously, a horror and a tragedy. But I will also never forget that sensation that we all felt of really being brothers and sisters, and needing to support each other.